This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
White trash fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas. The trailer park is nice and dark, deep in the heart of Texas. Cat drinks his brew and he spits his chew, deep in the heart of Texas. The TV blares but no one cares, deep in the heart of Texas. Here we go!
Hey, everybody. Welcome to
Blah.
King of the Hill podcast. I am Mike.
And I'm Rusty.
Rusty, you are Rusty. We are on season 4, episode 15, Naked Ambition. Yeah.
Yep.
This is the one that is probably, is this the most sexually charged episode?
Has to be one of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's one of
Because
the most sexually charged episodes.
you know, there's been stuff in the past, like I remember seeing those sheets from when they were animating King of the Hill that you couldn't make Peggy too sexy and all that stuff.
Yeah, you couldn't put too much curves on her. And
They never had a problem with having Luanne bounce up and down, though. You know, that
yeah,
was always
no,
a thing.
No. Luanne was meant to
They were
be.
okay with that.
I think Luanne was meant to be sexualized.
So the way we start this, by the way, no bell, no yell. The way we start this is on Lake Arlen. We see some ducks going by. And then here comes Luanne water skiing. You see the guys in the little blow-up tubes floating around drinking beer. But Con is driving this speedboat, pulling Luanne behind him. In the speedboat, you got men, Connie, Joseph, Bobby, and Peggy, along with Con. And she goes by real fast and creates a big wake and upsets the guys. And then we get something you don't normally see in King of the Hill. We see bouncing boobs of Luanne's.
Yeah, Luanne.
You don't see that too often. But,
no, you don't. You don't. It is definitely reminiscent of the era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this is the creepiest I've ever seen Joseph.
Like the Man Show.
He is super creepy.
You remember the Man Show where they had the trampoline and the bikini girls or whatever?
Yeah.
It was in that, who was that? Adam Carolla?
Adam Carolla and
Joe Rogan?
No. Adam.
No?
Well, Joe Rogan was on it after they left.
After they left. He was like the replacement.
It was Adam
guy.
Carolla and the guy on ABC, the guy that does the late night.
Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel. There you go.
Yeah, it was Kimmel.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
It was a fun show.
It was.
It's just
crumbs all over
you
me.
couldn't do it now. You know, there's no way.
No.
You'd have to do it like on OnlyFans or something. But anyway, they come.
Patreon.
Yeah, they come by.
.com/bois, K-O-T-H.
That's a really good. Maybe we get a trampoline in here. So they go by water skiing, and Luanne, you know, she's doing tricks and stuff, and then you see Bobby and Joseph on the boat, and Connie looks at her and sees the bouncing boobs, and she goes, "Shouldn't she be wearing a life vest?" And then Joseph's like, "No," you know, and just because he's just fascinated with those bouncing boobs. Yeah.
Yeah, he's creepy.
Oh, he is a creepy little dude. Okay, so then we transition to it's kind of twilight, and they're packing up. You know, the boat's on the trailer. They're getting ready to leave. You hear the horn honk, and Con is saying, "Let's go, Con Jr. I'll see you." And then she says, "I'll see you later, Bobby." Bobby's like, "Hey, wait, can I ride home with you? We could sit in the back and hold hands." Connie says, "Well, maybe next time." He goes, "Well, my mom's got this new moisturizer I've been sneaking. Very smooth."
Already got a note on the boat owned by the Sufanusum phones.
Yeah.
It's called the Laotian in Motion.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's really good.
I like that too, yeah.
So Bobby says he's got a new moisturizer, makes his hands real smooth. Connie says, "My hands are still pruny. It wouldn't be fair to you." I mean, she's obviously trying to get him to not go,
trying to get him
right?
to
And
stay.
Bobby's like, "What? You still haven't told him we're dating?" So apparently this is an ongoing thing where she refuses to tell him because they're hillbillies. You know, to con.
Yeah, for sure.
She goes, "It's not you, Bobby. It's just my dad. He has his heart set on me going out with Chain Wasana-song."
Wasana-song.
And we find out who Chain is here in a minute. Is that what they say? Chain? Shane? Chain? I don't know. Whatever. The kid's only in it for a little bit, so no big deal.
Wasana-song. And then how does he sound? Wasana-song. I am Ted Wasana-song.
Well, and then,
Something like that,
I
yeah.
am Ted Wasana-song.
Wasana-song.
Yeah, and then.
I think it's Shane is how they pronounce
Shane.
it, yeah.
Bobby goes, who was Sasa Wadanong? He's like,
yeah, he doesn't know. Yeah.
She goes, Shane, he's Laotian. Bobby says, but does he make you laugh? And then he takes a towel, puts it on his head like a turban, and goes, "You're getting sleepy, very sleepy. You will tell your parents about us, and you will quit smoking," which I think is that's a funny joke. And then the horn honks, and Connie says, "I'll tell him. I promise. I promise." And then she goes away. And then Hank sees Bobby, and he's like, "Son, why is there a towel on your head?" He says, "You, sir, getting very sleepy. From now on, you will only buy brand name cola." And Hank, very disappointed, just goes, "Just go change." We see the guys; they're all up on the shore, with the exception of Boomhauer. Boomhauer he is ready to stay in the lake all day, right?
Yeah, he is.
And
he's invested.
Right. From the shore, we see Bill. He's like, "Hey, Boomhauer, Peggy won't let me in her car. Can I go home with you?" She won't let me in her car.
Yeah, I wouldn't let him in my car either. He'd probably smell like a wet dog after being in water all day.
Man. Boomhauer's like, "No way, man. You know, dang old last hour of rays, man. You know, you never did the sun, dark side of the moon, man. No, go home, Gribble." And
Go home with Gribble.
Bill's like, "Okay, call me later if you want to talk about how much fun we had today." That's weird. It's so desperate of him. And so Boomhauer, you see him pull a beer. I don't know if you've ever done this, but like when you're tubing like that, just kind of going down a lazy river, a lot of these guys will have like beers tied to it.
Yeah, beer tied to it.
And they go in the water to keep them cold.
Because the water
doesn't keep them cold.
No, it doesn't. It's just lukewarm beer.
Yeah.
It says
lukewarm
the bridge,
wet beer.
It says the bridge that he floats underneath, according to some notes here from Artie. It says Godfather, Mad Max, and then Hayes. Hayes is a reference to Rafael Cruz, a.k.a. Hayes Cruz, who is a layout artist on the series.
No, cool.
He goes by Hayes.
I love how they do that, how they work people's names into like lists on airplane.
Well, being a layout artist, he probably did a lot of the background for it or whatever. So that's probably he probably snuck that in there for himself.
So now we see Boomhauer. He's still floating around. Bobby goes into the showers because everybody's got to shower off after being in the lake, you know, and then he pulls the curtain aside, and there's Luanne naked in the shower.
Yeah, just standing there.
He shrieks. She shrieks. She pulls the curtain real quick, but pulls it over too far, and he can still see her naked.
Yeah.
And so she shrieks again. He shrieks again. And then he just runs out. I think this is the only time that Peggy speaks in this.
Yeah, it is the only time she speaks in this. This is a very Peggy Hank light episode. You don't really see too much of them in
Peggy's
this one.
like, "Hey, Bobby, have you seen Luanne?" He goes, "No, she's my cousin. I'm going to ride home with Joseph." I mean, he just tears ass out of there because he doesn't know what to do with the information he's just seen. Yeah. Now we see the Bugabago. Dale is driving. Bill's asleep in the front, and Joseph and Bobby are in the back. And Joseph, of course, in his super creepy ways, is like, "Oh, man, what does she look like? Come on, come on." Bobby's
She's
just
my cousin, you weirdo.
Bobby's just super depressed. He goes, "I don't want to think about it." Joseph goes, "She's got big boobs, doesn't she?" I mean, he's just such a creep.
Yeah, he's weird.
Bobby's like, "Yes." He goes, "I knew it." And then Bobby says, "Luanne's practically my sister. I'm not supposed to see her in that state of affairs. I just got to get that picture out of my head." And Joseph, the creepiest thing, "Put it in my head. Tell me everything." Was she wearing high heels?
Oh, man.
Bobby's like, "She wasn't wearing anything." He goes, "Oh, man, I'm going to picture her in high heels." And I just wrote the word creep next to that.
That is kind of weird.
It is super
I'm going
creepy.
to picture her in high heels.
Well, and just the way he speaks, too, at this point. Because we've talked about that. You know how his voice changed?
Yeah.
Because it was the actor that, you know, and now he's like, he's just so creepy. So we're back on Boomhauer, and he just keeps on floating and floating and floating. And he ends up, it's nighttime. He floats into this bridge or under this bridge where you were talking about with all the graffiti. And he wakes up, and he's super sunburned. And then he gets up out of the water, and I thought he was in a sewage thing at first because he's all gross and dirty. But he looks up and he sees a giant city. So where do you think this is? I mean, did he float into Austin? Because that's what I'm assuming.
San Marcos.
Maybe.
That's where the river's at, right?
Maybe,
The Guadalupe or whatever, where
yeah,
they float.
Yeah.
Might be San Marcos, maybe.
It's got to be one of those two. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't think it's San Antonio.
No.
That's too far for them to go.
Well, that and people aren't allowed in the river there
That's true. That's true.
because it's not a real river.
Yes.
It's literally they.
I've seen people fall in it, though.
I've heard of. I've never
river
physically
walk?
seen
Yeah.
it, but I've heard of people being drunk on the river walk and
yeah.
like falling in.
There's no rails.
There's no
anything.
rails. There's
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing.
There's really dirty water though.
It is super
The water
dirty.
is filthy. They drain it once a year and scoop all the gunk off the bottom, all the phones
Is
and
the river walk-
keys
yeah.
and whatever else gets dropped. There was a guy that did YouTube videos that dives in rivers and stuff like that. And he was in that area, and he got in trouble. Like the San Antonio police
Yeah.
that kind of walk around down there, had to pull him out. Like, hey, you can't do that. That water's.
You couldn't pay me.
I wouldn't do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
You know what-
those
you know-
videos are cool though.
Oh, I bet they are.
The river videos, but that particular one, he couldn't see crap. The
Yeah.
water was almost black.
You know what that water reminds me of is there used to be this place here in town called Kittyland, and it had those
Yeah.
little boats that
Yeah, I
float
know what you're
around,
talking
and that
about. That
water
water
was
was
always
disgusting.
so gross.
It was like
Yeah.
grease water. You
Ugh.
could look. You could see the film
Oh,
of
yeah.
the oil
It's just
from the
gross,
the ride or
Anytime
whatever.
a kid would stick their hand in it, I'd be like, "Oh, that kid's getting diphtheria or
yeah,
something." So now we're next morning at the Hill breakfast table, and Joseph comes in through the glass doors, and he's like, "Hey, Bobby, I thought we could walk to school together today." Bobby's like, "We walk to school every day, and we don't leave for another 20 minutes." He goes, "I can't go back home. My dad already armed the perimeter." And then he goes
My
over.
dad already armed.
He armed the perimeter. He goes over and he like sits next to Luanne and is just staring at her. "Hey, Luanne." And Luanne's just like, "Hi," and that's it.
Yeah.
But again, it's him just being super creepy. Now we go back to Boomhauer. He's walking down the street in this city, and it's obviously a pretty decent sized city because they've got a bunch of people out on the sidewalks
Yeah.
and big stuff. He walks past a couple of ladies with dogs in their arms, and they're like, "Oh," and then he looks at the sun, and as he's doing that, he wanders into the street. And by the way, he is so sunburnt that he's got like little circles around his eyes where
Yeah,
he's
he's
wearing those
burnt.
things. Yeah, and he goes, "Yo, man, what are you looking at? My problem is," and then he walks into the street, and a car almost hits him, and he starts pounding on it, and we find out it's a cop car, and he's like, "Hey, what you doing, man? Taking it a bad way, man? I ain't got no flip-flops. Walk across the street, dang old hot cold, man. Dog barking like dead chicken running around with the head cut off, man. Head cut off."
Dogs barking like dead chickens with their heads cut off. That's a good. I'll have to use that next time my feet hurt. My dogs are barking like chickens with their heads cut off.
And then we see the cop. He like puts his hand on his gun, and Boomhauer's like, "Oh," and he knows he's said too much.
Yep.
Because literally the last thing he said was "head cut off," and he's a little hard to understand. So now we're at the Hills house. It's supper time. It's night, and Hank is telling this riveting story. So I'm walking to my truck, and bam, right into a spider web. I sneezed for half an hour. What a story, Hank. That's
Who sneezes when they walk into a spider web
don't know,
anyway?
but that's-
I've never sneezed
what
walking
a
into a
story.
spider web.
What a story. In
That little
comes
chuckle he does.
yeah. Oh, sneeze for half an hour.
Yeah.
Luanne says she comes in and goes, "My class was canceled and the library was closed." And she goes, "I love college," like because she didn't have to do anything.
Yeah, I used to love those days.
Yeah.
I used to kind of be pissed too because I'm like, I paid for it and now I can't go sit
Well,
in
it's
there.
that 15-minute rule, right?
Yeah.
If the teacher doesn't show up, you write your name on the board and leave.
That's what I
You know?
used to.
Yeah,
and
that
you
used
know
to
what
be
I
a
used to
rule.
hit them with? The stopwatch.
Oh, sure.
I have a stopwatch app, and I would say,
Oh.
all right.
15:01, and
15:01, I'm
yeah,
out.
you're
Boom.
out.
I don't care
Yeah.
if they're walking in. I'm like, hey,
sure.
15 minutes.
Yeah,
I
I'm
got
done.
grace.
I gotta go
I'm out.
see you. Joseph comes in through the sliding glass doors again, and he's like, "Hey, Bobby, I thought I'd come over and help you with your math homework." Bobby's like, "We're kind of in the middle of dinner right now." He goes, "I'll wait." And then he goes over and sits next to Luanne again
Yeah.
because he's just thinking about those boobs. And he's like, "Hey, Luanne." She goes, "Yeah, hi." And that's it. Again, just being super friggin' creepy. Next scene we see, we're at the Sam Houston Mental Center. That can't be a real place, but this is what makes me think we're closer to like Austin, San Antonio, places like that, because we're mentioning Sam Houston, right?
They don't have a Sam Houston Mental Center, but they have a Sam Houston Counselor Education Center
Okay.
at the Sam Houston State University.
Okay.
Go Bearcats.
Go Bearcats.
That would be Huntsville. So maybe.
Oh, that's Huntsville?
Yeah.
Oh,
Sam Houston.
Oh, okay.
Sam
I
Houston's
didn't,
Huntsville.
I didn't realize that.
So Sam Houston State University, which is
That
oh,
big
actually it
statue.
says Sam Houston Mental Health Center. Sorry, Houston.
Oh, really? So maybe they took him all the way to Houston? That's crazy, because that seems like a long way. You know, especially if you're coming from like Austin or the Austin area or even Waco. I mean, it's still 3 hours away.
Yeah.
But anyway, we see that we're now at the Sam Houston Mental Center. We're inside.
Well, he says Houston, but I looked it up and I don't see nothing there for Houston. So I'm gonna say that's a debunked.
Got to be
fact.
verified.
Yeah.
We see inside a doctor's office here at the mental center, by the way. There's the doctor, there's the cop standing in the background, and Boomhauer's in the chair. The doctor is like dictating into one of those dictaphones the whole time. He's like, patient exhibiting classic signs of schizophrenia. And then you hear Boomhauer's like, wake up sunburn, we're on verbal salad, man, disregard for personal hygiene. Or he says verbal salad, and the doctor's like, disregard for personal hygiene, possibly a threat to himself. And Boomhauer continues, he's like, and go home, man, what do you say? And then the doctor says, recommendation, 72-hour involuntary commitment. And he goes, oh, dang. So they're going to commit him for 72 hours against his will to make sure he's not going to cut anybody's head off, basically. That's what we're getting out of that.
Yeah.
All right, next thing, we see Dale trying to feed his turtle while he's on the phone, which I didn't know Dale had a turtle, but now he does.
This is also where you talked about, I meant to bring this up a while ago, but it slipped my mind. You mentioned Joseph's voice. Sorry, I blanked.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned Joseph's voice.
I took a drink and you blanked at the same time.
This is the last episode where Brittany Murphy voices Joseph.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
After this
and then
one,
it goes to Pamela
Breckenmeyer.
Adlon or
Breckenmeyer.
Oh, Breckenmeyer. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
that
thought
guy.
it was Adlon.
That's
oh,
crazy,
no.
right?
Adlon.
Breckenmeyer. I think this is where Breckenmeyer actually got his
entrance
into the industry.
I think he was a stand-up before that, maybe. But yeah, I think he probably this is.
I
the
think
first
it's a part
voice
of
he
it.
did.
Yeah, a part of it. A part of his
He was young.
launch. It's the same with Stifler's mom. This was like one of her first roles. Period. Was doing voices on King of the Hill.
Yeah. So Dale is in his
I
basement.
don't know her name. She deserved. She deserved better than that.
Dale's on the phone trying to feed his turtle, and he's obviously talking to Boomhauer. He's like, "Okay, Boomhauer, you win. Promise not to tell Hank. Wait, you're where? The booby hatch. Wait, the gentleman's club or the mental hospital?
hatch.
That's a great joke.
That is a great joke.
That is a wonderful joke." He said, "Oh my God, there must have been some kind of misunderstanding." Oh, there was. All right, I'll be right there. And then he hangs up the phone and he's trying to kiss his turtle. He goes, "Oh, come on, where are you going? I'm not leaving without my kiss. I can wait." And then the turtle doesn't kiss him, and he's like, "I can destroy you." That's like, I want to see Dale destroy a turtle. Okay, now we're in Bobby's room with Joseph and him both on the floor. And Bobby's saying, Mrs. Johnson's bag has 6 puppies, and Mr. Peterson's bag has -4 puppies. I don't know why. That's a math problem.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Sure. And then from the hall, you kind of hear, "Good night, Uncle Hank, Aunt Peggy." And so Luanne's going to bed. Of course, Joseph is very interested in this. He goes, "She's going to bed. Maybe I can see her naked when she's changing." That is gross, man. You're such a little creep.
Yikes.
Bobby says, "I wish you could get that excited about my math homework."
What if in the new episode he's in jail for sexual assault?
Well, I think he has to go from house to house to let everybody know that he's a sexual predator.
yeah, I don't know. He might have to. Or
Okay.
he might be like John Redcorn, and instead of being a sexual predator, he becomes a healer, and it kind of works out for him in that sense. Because I'm sure he'll probably look something similar. We've seen already, and when he's goes through puberty.
Sure.
I don't know what the hell's wrong with me.
Yeah,
I can't get words out. Yeah. But when he goes through puberty, how he gets all fit and swole and all that, and all cut and everything.
I would like to see John Redcorn running a cult of some kind.
I think that would be funny. I think that Joseph's going to be in one of those. I think he's going to be overweight because the white gene is going to express a little bit more, and he's going to have like a little pot belly, and he's going to be like Bill.
I can't wait for this thing.
I think he's going to be like Bill. I think he is going to be the new Bill in the new, because it's
cool.
going to be 4 guys.
Yeah.
You got to have 4 guys.
That's
and it's
true.
going to be Bobby, Joseph, and then whoever else they decide to put in there. But I think Bobby and Joseph are the two that have to be there.
Do you think it's what's his name? What's the guy's name?
Eugene.
Well, it could be him. And it could
I
be,
think it's gonna be Eugene.
your mom is broke. You know
Well. Who were the four? It was four of them in the back seat of the car. One or just three of them. It was three of them with the women Tanya. It was three, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
very
So
well
I guess
could be.
the fourth one could be anybody, but Eugene has to be in there.
Yeah, I hope so. Now he realizes that Luanne's going to bed, so he gets up and jumps out there and goes into the hall. He's like, going to bed, Luanne? She goes, nope, first I got a shower. And he's like, and then she goes into the bathroom. Bobby comes out and he's like, Joseph, my parents are right down the hall. As Joseph is trying to look through the damn door, he's griping about the fact that their doors don't have keyholes because he wants to look through that. And then finally, Bobby, he's like, you're starting to creep me out. Now go home. Luanne opens the door with a towel on, and Bobby is the only one standing there because he's sent Joseph off. And he goes, and she says, Bobby, it's perfectly natural to want to see a woman naked, but I am your cousin. Now, the first time it was an accident, but if I catch you again, you are going to hell. What? Okay.
Damn.
That's great.
She's damning him to hell.
Then we see Joseph outside. Now he's got the freaking binoculars trying to see into the bathroom, and all he can see is like a silhouette of Luanne getting ready. And Bobby comes out there and confronts him. He's like, are you crazy? We're going to get caught. I could go to hell. Joseph says, and this is the most true thing that Joseph will ever say. He goes, I can't help myself. I got a monkey on my back, and it wants to see Luanne naked.
God.
The monkey
That
on his
writing
back.
is really good, though. That writing is top notch.
Oh, the monkey on his back wants to see Luanne naked. Bobby's like, okay, one quick look, and then you go home. And that's, again, when they see the shadows through the window. Joseph, he's like, I can't see anything. It's all fogged up. Bobby's like, all right, too bad. She likes hot showers. He goes, does she? He goes, give me those. And he takes the binoculars from me. But Bobby falls in the bush. They turn around to see Connie at her window, and she's like, Joseph. Bobby. And he goes, hey, Connie. And so they're both caught outside looking in Connie's window with binoculars, when that's not really what they were doing.
No, that's not what they were doing.
All right, and that takes us to our first commercial break. We're going to take that, and we will be right back. Well, let me tell you, Rusty, eating healthy used to be a struggle for me, but that was before I discovered the BlendJet 2 portable blender.
The BlendJet 2.
Now when fast food temptation strikes, I just blend up a delicious and nutritious protein shaker smoothie. You know, they gave us a whole bunch of those little packages that came with the blender. Yeah. And there's some really good flavors in there. I mean, there's some like that matcha thing.
The green matcha?
Yeah, those are pretty damn good. BlendJet 2 is portable, so you can blend up smoothies at work, a protein shake at the gym, or even a margarita on the beach. It's small enough to fit in a cup holder, but powerful enough to blast through ingredients like ice and frozen fruit with ease. Maybe a human thumb. Don't put your thumb in it. BlendJet 2 is whisper quiet, so you can make your morning smoothie without waking up the whole house. Lasts for 15 plus blends and recharges quickly via USB-C, which has saved us all. There's nothing worse than turning that USB thing over and over and over and over, and then finally finding how it plugs in, you know?
Oh, yeah, I don't like that either.
USB-C
saved us all.
Best of all, BlendJet 2 cleans itself. Just blend water with a drop of soap, and you're good to go. There's 30-plus colors and patterns to choose from. There's a BlendJet 2 to complement just about any style. We have a pink one? Lavender. I think ours is lavender.
Mine is the Toy Story Aliens.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the Pizza Planet one.
Ooh, that one. Yeah. They've got some really cool colors, but I really like the patterns. I know one of the people here got one that looks like Woody the Sheriff.
Is there a code with them?
There is a code. What are you waiting for? Go to blendjet.com and grab yours today. Glab it today.
Glibbity glob.
And when you do glab it, make sure you use the promo code
BWAAA12.
That's to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. No other portable blender on the market comes close to the quality, power, and innovation of the BlendJet 2. They guarantee you'll love it or your money back. Blend anytime, anywhere with the BlendJet 2 portable blender. Go to blendjet.com and use the code
BWAAA12
to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. Shop today and get the best deal ever.
BlendJet 2, formerly known as BlendJet.
Hey, everyone. It's me, your puzzle-loving pal. Did you know I was a puzzle-loving pal?
I didn't know you were a puzzle-loving pal.
I got to tell you about my latest obsession. It's Wongo puzzles. These things are the real deal. They are high quality, handcrafted, and perfect for anyone who loves a good challenge but doesn't want to dedicate their entire kitchen table to puzzles for a week. Trust me, I have been there. I will tell you this, my parents, they're very old and decrepit, and they do puzzles all the damn time.
Yeah.
Like there's always a table that
What
has
else are
like
you
an
gonna do,
unfinished
right?
puzzle. Yeah, it's either that or I don't know.
Die.
feel your bones. So these puzzles, these Wongo puzzles, they are 100% wooden. They'll last forever. Each piece is hand drawn. Just think about that for a second. Each piece is hand drawn, so no two pieces are the same, and you'll discover some fun whimsy pieces as you work through it.
Whimsy.
They come in a custom wooden box, which is perfect for storage and gifting. Before we started doing this, I didn't realize how many people I know already have these Wongo puzzles. I mean, they're apparently pretty.
You can't go wherever Juan go.
With stunning designs and unique shapes, Wongo puzzles are a cut above the rest. I loved doing the snow globe puzzle myself. It was great to pull out a puzzle and be done in a night and not have it on the table for a week. So what are you waiting for? Let's go to Wongo Puzzles, WONGO puzzles.com, and pick a puzzle today. And be sure to use the promo code
BWAAA
for 10% off your order. It's the most fun you'll have with a puzzle, guaranteed, or your money back. Go to WONGO puzzles.com and use your code
BWAAA
to get 10% off your order and get puzzling right now. All right, and we are back from those lovely commercial announcements. I want to take this chance to remind you guys that we do have a Patreon set up.
Yes, we do.
Patreon.com/
BWAAAKOTH.
Right now, it's just set up at a small tier where you can just help support the show. It does cost money to do this thing, so if you get a chance, go take a look at that. Also, Good Pods you were just talking about.
Yeah, on Good Pods, we've got a lot of traction over on Good Pods. Good Pods is kind of the same thing as
It's almost like a clearinghouse.
Well, they have that Good Reads.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good Reads is where you can go and you could like set up with your friends and you can recommend books to each other and stuff like that. And Good Pods is the same thing, but they host the podcast so you could listen to it on their page, and then you could also do a feed too where you share on your feed podcast that you listen to so your friends could see. It's like Facebook or something for podcasting and stuff like that, or it's like a social media for podcasting, and they also host it there as well. But we're number 2 on their animation all time. Number 1 is actually it's actually a TED Talk, and I don't understand how it's
TED Talk.
Yeah, it's TED has a TED Ed is what it's called. TED Ed Lessons Worth Sharing, and they have like a bunch of education animation, and that's the one that's in front of us. That's the only one that's in front of us is TED. But the thing that trips me out is when you push the switch to make it where it's just indie-only podcasts, it takes ours away. So the internet has taken it. We're no longer an indie podcast. We're in the top 10% of. Our podcast has lasted so long now that we're in the top 10% of podcasts.
That's what I tell other shows. Just outlast them.
Just got to be there. Yeah, be there at the end.
That's it. You got it. But yeah, if you can help us out on either one of those fronts,
we'd appreciate it. Yeah, for sure. Just go on there, like, share, follow, all that stuff.
And by the way, we love you guys. Thank you so much. I want to say one thing. If you guys see me like messing with my fingernails, I am 54 years old and have bitten my fingernails my entire life. It's been 4 weeks and I haven't chewed on my fingernails.
Oh, that's good.
I'm very happy with myself, but it's bugging the holy hell
it's
out
hard
of me.
not to. It's like a hard habit to break.
God almighty, it's bugging me.
I wanted to give a shout out to another podcast real quick called Elwood City Limits.
Okay.
Elwood is the city that Arthur from PBS is from.
Oh.
So they do what we do.
Yeah.
But they do
it on Arthur?
Yeah, they're way deep
that's
in. I just
fantastic.
recently found it. They're 336 episodes in on their podcast.
Well, good for them.
They're
Elwood
number
City, is that
4.
what you said?
Yeah, they're number 4 on the list, so
Yeah.
we're above them on the list.
Go
but,
Elwood City.
Yeah, I
Good
gotta check
job.
them out. I've really liked it. I've been listening to it. I was a big fan of the
Really?
show when I was a kid, so I kind of been checking it out.
All right, let's get back into this. We come back from the break, and they're still outside of Connie's window. Connie's giving them the what for. She says, how dare you, Bobby? Peeping at me is bad enough, but bringing your friend over to scope me out too? Bobby's like, Connie, please, you don't. She says, well, this is what you're looking for. This is what you came to see. Well, take a good look, you pervs. She opens up her bathrobe and shows them, and she's just wearing pajamas underneath.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I don't know what. She goes, you disgust me. He goes, honest, Connie, we weren't looking at you. We were looking at, and Bobby's like, birds. He says, birds? Bobby's like, yeah, Joseph and I were looking at birds. We were bird watching. Connie's like, at night? He goes, a better time to see an owl or a bat? And he goes, a bat? You're not only a pervert, you're a liar. Bobby says, I'm a liar. Have you told your parents we're dating like you said you would? She says, no, and maybe now I don't have to. He goes, maybe you don't. She goes, maybe I don't. And then she closes the window, the shades, the whole thing, and he just like, oh, crap, whoops. He knows he screwed up.
That's it, yeah.
But then it goes to Joseph, and he's looking up in the sky, and you hear an owl hoot. And he goes, hey, look at her. He's just so
yeah.
He's so
That's
out of
good.
it. All right, so we're back at the mental facility, and we see all these guys out in the yard smoking, and they're all obviously patients. The orderly comes out and says, okay, smoking break's over. Last one inside loses internet privileges. And all of them throw their cigarettes down and run in real quick, with the exception of one guy. There's a guy out there who obviously is talking to himself, and he's just pacing back and forth, the thing you always see with mentally ill folks in movies and TV. And then you hear, hey, you crazy guy, from behind the tree. It's Dale, and he's like, I'll give you a smoke if you trade clothes with me. And then he obviously traded clothes with him and gave him a smoke, because in comes Dale in the guy's bathrobe, but he still has his hat on, and he still looks exactly the same.
Yeah, he looks exactly the same.
Nothing's
Doesn't look anything
changed.
different at all. Yeah.
He sees Boomhauer, who is in the corner of this big room playing pitch with a beach ball with these guys, which seems like a wonderful game. He walks up and he's like, Boomhauer. He goes, oh, man, dang old time, about time, Gribble, man. Go hit the road, man. He says, infiltration of mental hospital complete. Proceed to phase 2, exfiltration of mental hospital. And he goes over to the door, and the orderly has closed it, and you hear it lock. And he goes, apparently this door has some sort of anti-opening device. Well, that's a lock, Dale.
That's
what
a lock.
that is.
Yeah, that's a lock, Dale. Come on, man.
And then you just see him get hit in the head with that beach ball, and his head
Yeah,
flies off.
he's pretty much just a plum dum dum.
Anti-opening
plum
device.
dum-dum.
All right, then we transition over to Tom Landry Middle School. We are in the out by the lockers, and Bobby obviously is upset about this whole Connie thing, and he's like, I don't remember my locker combination. Connie keeps track of that kind of stuff, and she's still icing me out, trying to get me to crack. Joseph's there, and he goes, you can't tell her the truth? What are you going to say? You let me cop a look at your naked cousin? Up comes Connie, and Bobby's
rough.
like, hey, Connie. She goes, Bobby. And he goes, come on, baby, don't be that way. Why don't you come over tonight? I got a new laser pointer. Come on, baby.
I got a new laser pointer. You
He's
know you
leaning-
want to see it.
Yeah, he's leaning up against the locker. He's like, oh, I got a new laser. She goes, sorry,
That's
Bobby,
funny.
I have plans. No, wait, I'm not sorry. And she just storms off. We're back in the mental ward with the doctor, and Dale is sitting there explaining to the doctor. He's obviously in the middle of this riveting peanut story. He says, which is why so many people are suddenly allergic to peanuts. The peanuts are emitting toxins as an evolutionary defense mechanism. They're tired of being eaten, and now they're fighting back. Doctor's like, yeah, okay, I see. He goes, anywho, I just stopped by to pick up my buddy Boomhauer. You see, we're both in here by mistake. Now, I can't vouch for Boomhauer, but I am most definitely not crazy. The doctor's like, go on. He goes, did you just say go mom? Now who's the crazy one?
Yeah.
Obviously talking about the Freudian thing.
Yeah.
Slip. Now, worse comes to worse because they call Bill.
What's Bill gonna do?
Oh, my God. Bill is in his
Bill's
kitchen.
just gonna make it worse.
Yeah, he's in his kitchen eating some crap. And he's on the phone. He's like, uh-huh. Did you try telling him you're not crazy? Uh-huh. And so he walks over and he puts his plate in the sink, and his sink is just piled with dishes, just dirty dishes. I don't even know when he does them.
Yeah, I don't either.
He goes, no, I
Never. Probably
don't.
never.
Probably never. He probably throws them away.
Or he just waits till he sees bugs crawling on him and then starts to clean.
Gross. He goes, he's still on the phone. No, I don't see any reason why Hank has to know. Mm-hmm. Can I tell Boomhauer? No? Okay. I'll be right there. And then he hangs up the phone, and he just like, he's so giddy because the guys need him. You know, and that's all he ever wants is for some of them to need him. Now we're at Bobby in his room. He's studying. He picks up his little laser pointer, and he starts pointing it all around. And he points it at Connie. She sees it, and she just shuts the blind. And so Bobby's like, we hear a horn honk, and Con said, "Connie, son, Susan phone, meet Chain, or is it Chain?
Shane.
Shane.
I think it's like Shane. is how it's
Wasana
pronounced.
song.
Wasana song.
And Shane Wasana song is like, oh, you are much more beautiful than your picture led me to believe. She goes, what picture? Con says, I sent him picture. So what? Go have a great time. He sees Bobby next door, just lovelorn, and she says to Shane, she's like, Shane, maybe we can sit in the back seat and hold hands. And then Bobby's just like, oh,
Poor Bobby.
rips his heart out.
Yeah, that's terrible. Terrible way to do the poor kid.
Boy, you're not kidding. Now, we're at the mental hospital one more time. Bill in his pork pie hat, so you know he's on a mission. He always dresses up whenever he goes out. He said, now, I know this is going to sound crazy, pardon me, insane, but two of my best friends have been, pardon me, insane, but two of my best friends have been accidentally committed to this nut house. The nurse at the front thing, she goes, I'll get the doctor on call. Just don't let anybody touch my scissors. So she goes away, and Bill sees a little pamphlet entitled, Are You Depressed? He picks up that pamphlet, starts
he probably and then commits himself. Yeah,
absolutely. And then we go to a group where Boomhauer is speaking to that group, and he's like, "Oh man, I can't take it anymore talking about that." I'm sorry, him and Dale are walking down the hall, and he goes, "Oh man, I can't take it anymore talking about that crazy old roommate trying to give me old swallow dang old tongue." And Dale's like, hold that thought. I think I hear Bill. Yeah. Then we see the group, and Bill is in the group. He's dressed as one of them. And he's like, it's just that in the alley, no one cares what I have to say. But here I feel heard and accepted, and dare I say loved.
Loved? Yeah.
And Dale just looks at Boomhauer, and he's like, ping pong? Boomhauer's like, yo. And so obviously they knew how this was going to turn out with Bill. This is no surprise that Bill would screw some of this up. Yeah. Connie comes home. She's in her room. And then you see Bobby is already in her room. Like this is a little creepy on Bobby's part because he has snuck in through her window.
Yeah, this one's real creepy.
He's waiting in the dark for her whenever she comes in. He goes, have a nice time. She's like, Bobby. He goes, did he win you that for the carnival? She's holding a stuffed animal. She goes, no.
He's hurt. He's jaded now for sure.
She goes, no. Shane collects them, but otherwise, he's the man of my dreams, and I'm going to marry him. Bobby's like, you can't. She says, why not? Oh, all right. We weren't bird watching. We were peeping. Now call off the wedding. And Connie says, well, thank you for finally telling the truth. He goes, yeah, but we weren't peeping at you. I accidentally saw Luanne naked at the river, and I told Joseph, and he got jealous because he's in love with her. So then he wanted to see her naked, and I said, okay, but just for a little, and then you caught us. And she goes, so you weren't peeping at me? Bobby's like, no, you got to believe me, Connie. I would never peep at you, never. And then he kind of kneels down in front of her, and she goes, well, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I mean, who would want to look at me when they could look at her? Bobby says, I would, not through a window or anything, but in the same room together. I mean, you are my girlfriend, aren't you?
Ooh.
Yeah. And she's
Is this the first time that?
I think so.
Maybe once or twice.
And she's like, yes. And he goes, well, that's what boyfriends and girlfriends do. They take off their clothes, and then they look at each other naked. She goes, I guess. He says, sure they do. I mean, don't you want to see me naked? She goes, oh, okay. He goes, oh. Really? Huh? Well, she goes, well, if you don't want to. Obviously, he doesn't want to have her see him naked, but he's willing to do it, whatever it takes to get her back. She goes, if you don't want to. No. I tell you what, maybe we could just start with our shirts, you know. I mean, what's the rush? We got our whole lives ahead of us. And so she goes, okay, you first. And then he turns around and starts taking his shirt off. He's got it off. He turns back around, and he goes, okay. She goes, yeah, you got a pretty body. Oh, well, thank you. And then she starts to take her shirt off. She goes, here goes. And as she's taking it off, Con and Min open the door. And so how was date with Shane? Con, what's going on? Con's like, Yeah.
That's
and
funny.
That is our second commercial break with a naked Connie and a naked Bobby. And we'll be right back. Hey, Rusty, did you know that you could be putting oil and chemicals in your coffee?
I didn't know that.
I mean, I love coffee creamer, but I don't think I've ever turned a bottle around to actually see what's inside. You know, recently I did, and I found out many of my favorite creamers, like especially the one my wife used to use,
They contain ingredients I would never intentionally add to my coffee cup, like canola oil,
Ooh,
dipotassium phosphate, whatever
sounds
that is.
terrible.
Artificial flavors. I can't take artificial flavors a lot of the time.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm
A lot
good
of
on
them
any
just taste-
flavoring.
They taste
I
gross.
don't like flavors in my coffee. I like the earth and flavor of coffee.
I mean, I love coffee. Don't get me wrong. I do love it. I just I don't like all that crap in my coffee, right?
Yeah, no, who does that?
So let me tell you about Laird Superfoods then. They have better ingredients, amazing taste, and functional benefits. Laird Superfood creamers are crafted from the highest quality, all-natural, real food ingredients. All Laird products are sustainably sourced and thoroughly tested to ensure that you're incorporating the cleanest, finest fuel into your routine. Now, they're all natural. They've got whole food ingredients. They contain naturally occurring MCTs from coconut oil, and everybody tells you coconut oil is good for you.
Mm-hmm.
There's no artificial flavors, no colors, no additives, no sugar from highly refined corn syrup. So that's a big deal right there. If you take one thing you do every day and make it better, Laird developed his creamer himself to stay powered for a day on the waves. He was a big wave surfer, Laird Hamilton was, and he needed a morning fuel that could allow him to spend the entire day chasing the ultimate wave. So he made this creamer, and it is it's crazy, crazy good. Laird sources high-quality plant-based ingredients globally and puts an emphasis on U.S. sources whenever possible. They aim to source responsibly and sustainably and believe that the foods you consume should be as good for the earth as they are for you. They have honest and transparent products and labels. If you try it, you won't go back. They have functional superfood creamers, instant lattes, and prebiotic greens. They have a variety of snacks and supplements full of wholesome plant-based ingredients to keep you charged for wherever life takes you. So to get a deal on Laird Superfoods, I need you to go to zen.ai BWAAA King of the Hill. So that's zen.ai/BWAAA King of the Hill. And your offer code there is BWAAA. So Laird Superfoods makes a better creamer that keeps you powered all day, and it's better for you, the earth, and your coffee. What do you say, Rusty? You want to go get some coffee?
Coffee.
Hey, Rusty,
Yeah.
did you know that dehydration is the leading cause of daytime fatigue?
Oh, no.
I don't know about you, but like 2:30, 3 o'clock, I just hit a wall almost every day. I was shocked to learn that even mild dehydration can cause headaches, muscle weakness, brain fog, but luckily there's a cure.
Oh, there is?
Actually, I should have said there's a solution. It's called Cure. Cure Hydration. The Cure Hydration is an oral rehydration solution, or ORS, that contains the perfect balance of electrolytes. We know how important that is because plants crave it.
Super important.
And glucose to help your body absorb water and rehydrate quickly. The formula is made with all natural ingredients like coconut water, powder, and pink Himalayan salt. Whoopee. And it is free from artificial flavors, sweeteners, and preservatives. Cure Hydration is vegan, gluten-free, and non-GMO. That makes it a great option for anyone with dietary restrictions and preferences. The packets that they give you, they're convenient. They're easy to use. You just mix them with water and drink. They're perfect for on-the-go, travel, or anytime you need quick hydration. Hydration is more than just drinking water, Rusty. It is, that's what Lauren Picasso, a lifelong endurance athlete, discovered as she struggled to stay hydrated no matter how much water she drank. I've known people like that. My wife drinks so much water, it's crazy. Lauren found Cure, a science-backed electrolyte drink mix to make hydration easy for everyone. Cure believes that hydration should be simple and effective, but also clean and natural. That's why they only use the highest ingredients and quality plant-based stuff to avoid any artificial or harmful additives. They're committed to transparency and honesty. All of their ingredients are clearly listed on their website and packaging, and they're always happy to answer any questions or concerns. So are you ready to combat dehydration?
Absolutely.
You can try Cure today and feel the difference for yourself. Use your code
BWAAA. Sorry, I blanked.
You're good. For 20% off your order. Try Cure today and feel the difference for yourself. Use our special code
BWAAA
for 20% off your order. Your coupon will be activated at checkout. Try Cure Hydration. Stop drying out. Okay, and we are back. Once again, thanks for sticking through those commercials.
So we're in the living room at Khan's house, and she and her mom are sitting on the couch while Khan is pacing back and forth. Obviously, they're going to teach her a lesson or yell at her or something. Khan says, "Repeat after me. Bobby Hill is not your boyfriend." And Min says, "Shane Wasanasong is your boyfriend." She goes, "No, he's not." She goes, "Shane Wasanasong is your boyfriend." I mean, she just like trying to drill it into her head. And she goes, "Mom, we had one date. I don't even like Shane Wasanasong." She goes, "Shane Wasanasong," and she interrupts her and goes, "is a boring know-it-all who talks about himself and cheats at miniature golf. I don't want to date him. I want to date Bobby." Khan, of course, hearing this, he's like, you think that boy have a future? That boy not baby fat. That's permanent.
That's funny. That's a good joke. I like that one.
He goes, "Khan Jr., you leave me no choice. You are grounded, and Bobby Hill is not allowed on my property." So she got yelled at pretty good for that, which, I mean, you can kind of understand from her parents because they are pretty traditional. Now, we're on the way to school, and it is Joseph and Bobby, and Joseph's like, "First you cop a look at Luanne, and then you see Connie naked? Man, when did you become such a player?"
He's such a creep.
He's a creep. Bobby's like, "I didn't see Connie naked. I only saw her belly button." And then the creepiest thing of all, I think, is this comment. "I only saw her belly button," and Joseph goes, "How was it?" I mean, it's a freaking belly button.
Yeah, it's pretty
Bobby
gross.
goes, "Oh, incredible, but I'll never see it again. Connie's grounded, and when my dad hears about it, he's going to ground me too." And then he goes, Joseph says, "You'll be stuck in the house all day with Luanne." It's that last, it's just
Reminds
so
me
creepy.
of Carl from Sling Blade.
Yeah, biscuits and mustard. Okay, so now
Luanne naked.
be trapped in the house all day. Next thing we see is Bill tracing a hand turkey. And Dale is right there, and he goes, "We got to get out of here. The smoking breaks are too short, and the food is too good, and at best the antidepressants are making my mouth dry and happy." Boomhauer's over on the side painting himself in kind of like his classic painting style.
Yeah.
Bill over there making his turkey, he's like, "Can I get some glitter, please?" And he says, "Why don't we just call Hank?" Dale, "No, Hank must never know we are in here. Our society stigmatizes the mentally ill, and rightly so. These people are nuts. If we're ever going to bust out of here, we'll need our wits about us. So from now on, no more taking pills. We're going to save them up and then sell them to the guards, and with that money, we'll buy a rope." What a plan.
What
We're
a plan.
We're going to sell our drugs and buy a rope.
I never understood why they sent Dale to go get him out anyway. That was the worst person to
no
send.
kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding. And then you hear from Boomhauer, "Dale, man, stupid plan, never going to work." He goes, "Oh, really? You have a better plan?" Boomhauer said, "Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, man, about every day around 2:15, man, that old laundry truck coming on coffee break, man, all we do, nothing to it." He goes, "Ha-ha, that's the worst plan I've ever heard, but this is a democracy, so we'll put it to a vote. All in favor of Boomhauer's plans?" And all three of them raise their hand, including Dale, who's asking the question.
Yeah.
He looks at it and he goes, I must admit, I'm surprised by the results. I figure I had at least my support. Well, what you going to do? I mean,
What can you do?
It's just the craziest thing. All right, and then we see Hank. Poor Hank. He's over there in the alley all by himself drinking. He kind of looks around. There's nobody around. So he walks over to Khan's side of the fence. He says, "Hey, Khan, I thought I heard someone mixing concrete." Like he can hear somebody mixing concrete. He knows that sound.
He knows it's somewhere happening.
Khan's like, "Oh, that's right. I'm building a fence. Big fence, 8 feet tall between your house and my house." He goes, 8 feet, huh? "You see, Khan, in this neighborhood, side fences have to be 5'6" or under. It's not in the code or anything. It's just something I'm trying to enforce."
Yeah.
Khan says, "You really want to help me, Hank Hill? Keep your dirty little boy's hands off my innocent genius daughter." Hank's like, "Well, what is that supposed to mean?" He goes, "Last night I catch Bobby half naked in Connie's room." He goes, "Bobby?" He goes, "Truth about your little boy not so pretty after all, is it, Hank Hill? He girl crazy sex fiend." Hank says, "Well, that boy's going to get a talking to, I'll tell you what." Then he walks off around the corner. He stops for a second, kind of goes, "Oh," like he's just he smiles a little bit.
Yeah.
I think he's finally like, "Oh, thank God, Bobby's going to be normal," or whatever, it's going through his mind. Okay, now we're back at the hospital, and we see all three of these guys sneaking down the hall. They jump into a laundry bin. A guy comes out. He puts some laundry in it, and he starts pushing it down the hall. He pushes it to the door. One of the guards gets up and goes, "Ron." And then the guy comes and he pulls, or one of them pulls the fire alarm from within the bin. Everybody runs out. Boomhauer goes through the laundry chute. All of the next two of them go through the laundry chute. They kind of land on each other. When they land, they get up and they look, and there's a bunch of guards. And they come after them with needles to knock them out.
Yeah.
And the last thing Dale says is, first one to regain consciousness calls Hank. And then they all pass out on each other. We're at the hospital, and now Hank has shown up, and he's got all three of them in the hallway. And he goes, all right, I just spoke with your doctor. Boomhauer, you were kept for the mandatory 72 hours, and since you don't seem to be a threat to yourself or others, you're free to go. He's like, all right. And he goes, Dale, you were actually never admitted, so you're free to go, but the doctor thinks you should keep on taking your medication. He's like, easier to swallow. He breaks the big pill in half and goes, it's easier to swallow. And then he goes, and Bill, the doctor says that since you checked yourself in voluntarily, you can leave whenever you want. Bill's response to this is, yeah, I know, but I think I'll stay for a few more days. I think I'm making some real progress
here.
here.
Yeah.
And he goes, Bill, just get in a truck. No, I learned in group that I sacrifice my feelings too easy. My feelings are valid, Hank. I'm valid. Oh, I made this for you. And he hands him that hand turkey.
Yeah,
that
the
he
hand
made.
turkey,
Yeah. All right, next thing we see is Bobby depressed in his room. He finally grabs the laser pointer. And then we see over on the side, here's Connie's room. Min's in there talking to Con Jr., and she goes, you will call Chain Wasanasong and apologize for not calling sooner. Here. And she goes, I wrote out Loation chit-chat for you. And then as she's talking, you see that red dot hit her forehead like you've seen a million times with a laser pointer. And she's like, make sure you use honorific verb form. And then Connie just starts kind of laughing. She goes, oh, you think this is funny? Not many Laotian boys in Ireland. Don't piss this away. I thought that was really weird for her to say that.
Don't piss this away.
Yeah.
That's kind of aggressive.
That's kind of aggressive
That's
and out
really
of character.
aggressive.
Don't
That's
piss this
super
away.
aggressive.
Connie looks out the window. She sees Bobby with the pointer, and he's like going between the fence slats to point at her mom's head. And then we see outside, Con is putting up floodlights, and we learn eventually that these are motion-detected floodlights.
You know, this is this situation right here really shows how more tolerant Hank is. Than
absolutely.
Con
Absolutely.
Sr. Hank is extremely tolerant.
But he's up on that ladder, is Con, and he's like, hee, go ahead. Try to sneak into my daughter's new room now, stupid redneck.
Because it's a racial thing for the Laotian
Oh, yeah,
guy. He
absolutely.
wants his Laotian daughter to be with a Laotian.
Yeah.
And everybody perceives Hank as being this ultra-conservative,
Mm-hmm.
guy. And I don't think that's the case. I think this right here is one of those points that proves that Hank isn't as conservative as people think he is.
Yeah. So Connie comes out of the window, and she grabs her dad's ladder because her dad and her mom have walked off now. She grabs the ladder, puts it up on the fence, and she's up at the top of it. And she's like, Bobby. Bobby hears her and goes, Connie, come down here. I miss you. She goes, I can't move or I'll set off my dad's security light. He goes, all right, don't move. And he goes in the garage to get a ladder because he's going to do the same thing she's doing. And then in comes Hank driving in his truck, and so we see the lights go across him. As he gets out, Bobby's like, Dad, what are you doing here? He goes, I was just getting the guys out of the insane asylum. What are you doing here? Like it's just an everyday thing.
Yeah, like it's an
you know?
everyday thing. It
Bobby's-
probably is.
Bobby just kind of looks around. Hank looks over at the fence. He sees Connie at the top of it, and he goes, the 10-footer ought to do it. And he goes, the middle one. Then he goes over and gets the ladder for Bobby, which such a sweet thing for Hank to do.
Yeah, that's
super
that's a good
sweet
gesture. Yeah.
So they're both up on ladders. They're talking face to face now. And she's like, hey, Bobby, hurry. And they kiss at the top of the fence. Con comes out. He sees that. And he starts, rah, 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 rah. He's speaking in Laotian. And Bobby's like, I know a couple of those words. I better go. And then she goes, bye, I see you. And Con comes out, I see you. He's yelling at Bobby while he's on the ladder. He goes, Con, see everything. You know, you're not too big to be spanked, you dirty little hillbilly. and then Con literally sees Luanne naked in the shower through that window.
Through that window, yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, Aunt Peggy, Mr. Con saw me naked. And then Joseph in the street on his bike, he's like, oh, man, he missed it again.
He missed it again.
He missed a naked Luanne again. And that is it.
That's it.
That
That's a
episode
quick
went
episode.
so fast. Yeah, it's a good one, though, but
Yeah.
it's kind of a filler, because, I mean, we never really refer to this stuff again. And there's not anything that happens
we
to,
never really refer
to
to it again.
characters or anything. And then after the credits, we hear, did you just say, go, Mom?
Did you just say go, Mom?
And that's it, man. You want to
Yep.
tell them where they can find us?
You can find us at bwaaakoth.com. You can find us at roguemedianetwork.com/bwaaakoth.
That is it.
Also, you can go to wacooawards.com/podcast of the year if you want to vote us for podcast
Is voting
of the
open?
year. Yeah, voting open the 5th.
Oh, okay.
So if you guys want to vote for us for that, we'd appreciate it. Again, as you did last year, you got us nominated all the way to the final round of things.
Yeah.
So
It may
also,
not be our crowd.
yeah, I don't think so.
Our crowd is a little different.
Yeah, I think so. But you can still vote for us.
Yes, please.
And we're charting in USA, Canada, Australia,
We done charted.
and Germany. So
Charted all over ourselves.
we're doing good. Yeah.
All right, and if you want to go to roguemedianetwork.com and check out some of these other shows, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
Again, don't forget about the Patreon. You can help support the show and help it get made. We'll definitely give you a shout out for that, Jordan. We got your stuff on the counter. I think we've got a couple of other Patreons, and we'll try to shout them out on Friday.
Also, I'll say it again. Everybody, nobody has sent anything yet. If you want stickers, I need you to email me. Email me at bwaaakoth.
And we'll
at
look up the old ones we have.
gmail.com.
We'll look up the
Yeah,
old ones
I'll
we
see what
have
I
and
can
try
find.
to go through there.
Yeah.
But that is it, and we will be back on Friday with a That Ain't Right Friday. And thanks again for watching and listening.
Wimatanye.
We Matanya, indeed.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.